Hi everyone, Linda from Balcony Travel here, and I'm on board the beautiful Celebrity Flora in the Galapagos. This ship was built specifically for the Galapagos, and it is absolutely fantastic. I'm having an amazing time, and I'd love to take you on my journey. Here's a map of Upper South America, and you can see where the Galapagos is located just to the left of Ecuador there. We flew into Quito, where we spent 2 nights before then going back to the airport to fly to the islands. Here's a map of all the islands, and people always say, well, why go to the Galapagos? Well, they have so many species that are endemic to the area that you can see. Here's one of Darwin's Finches that we saw, and then the flightless cormorant can only be found there. Also the land iguana that we found on North Seymour Island, and of course, everyone's favorite, the giant tortoise. Our package was booked with Celebrity Cruises, and it was so nice to see them at 2:30 in the morning when we arrived late at the airport. They took us to the JW Marriott in Quito, where we spent a couple of nights. They had a great hospitality desk to answer any questions that might arise. The next morning, Celebrity took us on a full-day tour of Quito, which is also a World UNESCO Heritage Site. We went up, took the bus up to see the world's tallest winged representation of the Virgin Mary. Gives you a beautiful view over the city. Then we went into the historic center and saw some monasteries and some beautiful churches. They took us for a local lunch at a local restaurant. And then in the afternoon, we went to the Solar Museum and had a lot of fun standing on the equator line, where you had one foot on the northern hemisphere and you could put the other foot in the southern hemisphere. Celebrity has 3 ships in the Galapagos. This was the brand new 100-passenger Flora that I was on. We also got to see the Xpedition. It holds 48 passengers. And then they have this unique yacht-like ship that holds 16 passengers. The Xpedition and Xploration operate 2 itineraries, the northern loop and the southern loop, while the Celebrity Flora does an inner loop and an outer loop, but they're all fantastic no matter which one you choose. But we had to get there first, so it was back to the airport for our flight to Baltra, and Celebrity operates a charter flight with Avianca, and it was great, lots of legroom, super flight, and I even managed to catch a glimpse of the Celebrity Flora from the plane. Once we arrived in the Galapagos and got through the airport, there was our very first iguana, I guess an airport greeter. We were then bussed over to a loading area where we could put our life jackets on and wait for the Zodiacs to come and pick us up and take us over to the ship. I've kind of panned it off in the distance. You can just sort of see it out in the water there. It only took us about 10 minutes to get there, so it was quick. And loading into the Zodiacs is super easy. They've got these new stairs built into them. So for, like I say, getting on was easy. And then, of course, getting off when we got to the ship for our warm welcome to come on board. This was our beautiful cabin. It was a sky suite with infinite veranda. And I'm going to do a separate video all about the Celebrity Flora, and I'll put a link to it at the end of this one. We had to learn some new terminology. This was called a wet landing. So we had to wear our water shoes, our open-toed sandals. As you can see, we're in the water.
And this is the Galapagos sea lions. But we're going to see sea lions every single day. So don't worry, that's a promise, right?
Yes.
So you're going to finish with a shoot of the pictures.
And our guide wasn't kidding. We saw sea lions literally everywhere. Here's some more, of course, and this was on Rabida Island, and you can see how red the sand was. It was really amazing. And we did some snorkeling here. We went for a big walk, and of course these guys were just too cute. I couldn't help but zero in on them at the end here. They're so lazy looking too. They just lay around. These other ones were having a race, so I sped this one up to kind of make it a little bit more fun. But they were just so hilarious to watch. Everybody had good smiles and chuckles while we were watching them. This one here was a dry landing, so we could wear our hikers or our sneakers. You can see it was a platform here. Sometimes it was on rocks, and they always told us ahead of time what kind of landing it would be. We went on a lot of walking tours. A lot of them were flat along beaches. Some of them were uphills. I've got some more to show you when we went to the tops of places later. But it gets you close to the wildlife, and here's the iguana here. We got to see this oyster catcher, and it was just about to sit on its egg, so we stayed there and watched it as it just covered it up. On one of our hikes, we came across this beautiful lagoon with this peaceful flamingo dabbing himself in the water, and then as I panned over, all these iguanas were baking themselves in the sun, and it just made for kind of an interesting picture to see the two of them together. One of our morning excursions took us to Santiago Island to walk on the lava rock, and it was just fascinating to see the formation of what had happened since the lava had flowed and then hardened, of course, and I couldn't believe my eyes to see the cactus growing in the middle of nowhere. One afternoon we went on a fast-paced hike on Isabella Island, And you can see just off to the right of the photo the next group coming up. So we covered a lot of ground, and we had some beautiful views over Darwin Lake and heard the guide talking about the volcanoes.
You know that we have right next to us is Darwin volcano, after Darwin. Of course, we have to honor Darwin because he was walking here in this area. So that is Darwin volcano. And you can see the older lava flows that have already vegetation, trees on it. And you can see the young lava flows that don't have trees on it. And then we see the lava flows here to the left side. They are huge lava flows.
We asked our guide about the graffiti, and she said it was actually the sailors who landed there, and they would carve the name of the ship and the year they were there. So you can see it says 1510. We did another hike, and this time it was to the top of the mountain peak that you see there. We started walking on the boardwalk type platform, and then as we got higher, it was stairs basically all the way to the top. They did have railings though, so that was safe, but you can see as we're getting up higher and higher how the distance that we covered. And of course, again, beautiful views at the top, spectacular. And then I took a video as we were coming down, and there was another platform area where you could stay and take a video, and just of the whole area. It was just spectacular to see the volcanic rock and the mountains. And of course, we did a lot of water sports too. We went kayaking quite a few times, and it was great because you could kayak quite close to the shore, and we got to see this cute little penguin guy sitting all by himself on the rocks. We scuba dived. We wore the wetsuits because the water was a little cool, not too bad. And the scenery, the fish, and this tortoise was swimming right beside us. And so we had a great time following him along. And then a seal just like this one swam right underneath me. One of the excursions we did was a zodiac tour into Elizabeth Bay. We cruised past a rock area where you can see the blue-footed boobies all gather. Look at the mess they make at the top. I managed to capture this guy scratching his chin, and I got another one with a great shot of the ship in the background. It was fascinating to watch these blue-footed boobies dive into the water like torpedoes to get their fish. They would bob down, you can see them, and they take quite a while before they pop back up again. It was just amazing to sit and watch them. And I was excited to see my favorite, the penguins. So we even had the Galapagos penguins swimming alongside our Zodiac. They were kind of fun, bobbing along the water and making their noises as they do. We got into the mangrove area and saw some really unique marine life.
Species. And these are the golden cow race. Golden cow race. They're spectacular. White bellies, golden yolk color. Look how graceful they are.
We were also fortunate enough to see the spotted eagle ray, which our guide said sometimes is quite elusive and don't see very often. We found a green sea turtle that had been buried in the sand right below our Zodiac, and then it joined up with a yellow morph turtle, and they both swam along for a little bit alongside our Zodiac. Another must-see for everyone was the red-footed booby, and it's interesting because they have a blue beak. They have different colors. You've got the white one there, you've got the dark brown one, and then we managed to find a nest, and you see the white fluffy baby being watched over by the parent. I was taking a video of one of the birds and got pretty close. Whoa! These male frigate birds were really unique. During courting season, they would inflate these large red pouches in order to attract the females. But everyone's favorite seemed to be the blue-footed booby. They weren't even bothered by us as we walked past them on the trail.
Bluefin. We are so close here that we can basically see the difference between the two genders, males and females here. Females, they are bigger, different calls, like these honks. Hear that already, right? Thank you. Like that.
Our last day took us to Santa Cruz Island and the Charles Darwin Research Station. We got to see the various stages of their breeding program. on the different species of the giant tortoise, and then they put them back on the islands where they almost became extinct in some places. It was kind of funny when we took the bus to go see the giant tortoises in the wild that we had to pull over and wait while they crossed the road. Walking amongst these giant tortoises, I felt a bit like I was in Jurassic Park. We got to participate in a terrific program that Celebrity Cruises has in collaboration with the National Park to help reforestation of some of the trees that are endemic to the birds. And you could even get a little number that you can bury with your tree. And then if you ever come back and visit, you can see how your tree is growing. And as the sun was setting, we had to say goodbye to the beautiful Galapagos. And the next morning, we headed off to the airport for our flight back to Quito. They had quite a few shops open, so you could buy some local goods before you got on the plane. I got my last look at wildlife as 2 iguanas came to say adios before we landed back in Quito again, where we spent half a night before heading home. Well, thanks very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed your quick trip to the Galapagos. And if you'd like any more information on this trip or any other cruise, please feel free to contact me at linda@balconytravel.com, or you can visit my website at www.balconytravel.com. Thanks very much again, and may today be your day to travel.